are now watching the Vision Channel, where Habakkuk 2 and 2 says, write the vision and make it plain, so they that see it can take it and run with it. This is the channel where faith and vision collide to bring forth a manifestation. You're watching the Vision Channel.
I'd like to say good evening. Welcome to Let's Talk with Sandra. Thank you for tuning in with your girl on this evening. We have an exciting show for you on tonight. I am so excited for this special guest that I have in the house on tonight. Tonight we have an exciting show for you. We have a topic on tonight that is so important. We see so much that's going on in the world. So tonight, we're going to be addressing gun violence. We know it is so prevalent. Every time we turn on the news, there is a killing somewhere related to gun violence. So I wanted to bring this to you because we need to get some answers on tonight. How can we deal with gun violence? We know we see our Congress and we see all that, but to me, they're not doing anything. So we're going to bring you some answers from a godly point of view, from what thus said the Lord. So I am so glad you tuned in with us tonight. You can call in, you can ask questions on tonight. Grab you a pencil, paper, type it in on your phone. That number is 281-888-4042. Again, that number is 281-888-4042. I want you to like us and share us, especially tonight, because there are people who's lost loved ones through gun violence, through road rage, and we need to give them some answers on tonight. So call your friend, call your neighbor, your coworker, your family, your mother, your father, whoever you need to call, brother, sister, call them on tonight. Let them know we're going to be discussing gun violence tonight. So I'm getting ready to introduce my guest on tonight. I'm so excited to have this young man in here with me, no other than Pastor Don Williams. Pastor Don Williams, I want you to tell us a little bit about yourself, your wife, your family, the name of your church. I want you to do that.
Thank you, Sister Sandra. I want to say thank God and thank you for this opportunity to be able to share the good news of the gospel of Jesus Christ to those who do not know him, to those who think they know him, and to those who know him. Maybe you need to be reintroduced to him again. My name again is Don Williams. I am the pastor of the Servants House Ministries, where we meet at 2206 Turtle Creek Drive in Missouri City, Texas, 77459. On Sunday mornings, we meet at 10 a.m. for our Sunday school, at 11 for our morning worship hour. And on Wednesday evenings, we have Bible study at 6:30. And I pat myself on the back because I think we're doing a wonderful job, and I think it's a mighty poor dog that won't wag his own tail. I went to Willow Ridge High School, graduated in the late 80s. I then went to Prairie View A&M and got my Bachelor's of Science in Mechanical Engineering. I went to the College of Biblical Studies and did some associate studies there. From there, I went to St. Louis Theological Seminary, where I got my master's in divinity, and I'm looking forward to hopefully getting my doctorate here soon in the next couple of years. And I'm thinking about Moody Bible Institute.
Good one.
I used to be the youth pastor at Sweet Home Missionary Baptist Church in Galena Park under my pastor, Randy Williams. And then we parched and parted off, and I was called to found the Servants House Ministries, which has been established for 13 years now. So if you're in the area, we're having in-live services. Come and join us. We're also a part of the 21st Century Regional District General Assembly Associations under our moderator, Carl Grice. So anytime, come on by. And I'm happy to talk about this issue of gun violence tonight. So I agree. Call in, ask questions, and make your hearts ready for the Word of God.
Amen. The first thing I want to do is I just want to bring out some gun laws, some House bills before we get into the questions. A new law came into effect September the 1st, 2021 by Governor Greg Abbott, where you did not have to have a license anymore to carry. Mm-hmm. So he made it open for everybody to carry. And it seems like since he made it open where everybody can carry, to me it seemed like things have gotten out of hand. Everywhere you turn, a killing over there, a killing over there. Everywhere you look, because everybody is packing now. So when I see House bill that says 1927, known as permitless and constitutional carry, it allows everyone to carry handguns in public without a license and without the background check, no training or license requires. Also, this House Bill 2622, known as the Second Amendment Sanctuary. This is a statute that prohibits state agency and local governments from enforcing new federal gun rules. So I'm going to look at one more because it's so many. I don't have time to go through all of them. We have the House Bill 1500. It prevents government entities from banning the transportation of firearms and ammunition during a declared disaster or emergency. Then you have House Bill 957, House Bill 1407. Then you have House Bill 1387. I mean, it's just so many of these House bills as it all relate to gun laws. So, Pastor Williams, what do you think of these laws? What do you think?
Well, that's a good area to start. Let me say to those who are listening that want to know where I stand on gun freedoms. I grew up around guns. I hunt. I own a firearm. However, I was taught to have some good moral compass and guidelines and common sense. That if you kill it, you eat it. And since I don't want to eat no human flesh, did you hear that? I don't kill humans. Now, let me say this with regards to the legislation that was passed statewide and how some are approaching it nationally. First off, we will never be able to legislate morality. Morality starts at home. And from the home, it expands to the church. And then from the church to the school. And what we have done is we have decayed morally as a people. We don't have a sense of, as the Bible say, what is right and what is wrong. I believe when it comes to the new legislation that has been passed in Texas, if I have to have a training permit to drive a car, if I have to have a license to drive a car, it should be no less required of me to own a firearm. You tell me I have to be trained and licensed to drive a motor vehicle which kills less people than firearms, but yet then turn around and tell me I don't have to be licensed, trained, and or have any moral compass to own a firearm. It's just unbiblical. Let's just look at it from that standpoint. Now ask me, why is it unbiblical? Because we do things in the context of wanting to protect ourselves or do things of that nature. You asked about the Second Amendment. I think you put that in there, how people pose the Second Amendment. The Second Amendment says that our right to have and to bear firearms shall not be infringed upon. That does not mean that the right shall not be taken away if needed to be taken away. And there are some people who don't need it. I wish, sister, hear me well when I say this. Audience, hear me well. I wish the people who are now reading the Second Amendment, who really don't read the rest of the Constitution, those who know the Second Amendment, I wish they knew the second tablet of the law of our Lord and Savior Jesus Christ of God just as well as they knew the Second Amendment. I wish that Jesus made it even easier. He wrapped it up and put it in one small phrase. He said to love thy neighbor as you love thyself. If we defended that as much as we defended the right to have a gun, what a place it would be.
My God, my God. It seems like the shooting and violence has gotten worse. What do you think? I mean, God.
Well, let me do it from a biblical standpoint. From a biblical standpoint, let me make sure I read this correctly. From a biblical standpoint, Matthew chapter 24, if I am correct, Jesus tells us that there will be all kind of stuff. He said, people will hate one another and shall hate brother against brother. Sister shall be against sister. Mother against daughter. Father against son. He says that iniquity shall abound and the love of many shall wax cold. He said there will be wars and rumors of wars. So if I look at it biblically, what's taking place right now has to happen. It must happen because Jesus said it would happen. If everything were hunky-dory right now, I'd be scared because then that means the Bible is a lie.
Right.
And if the Bible is a lie, then that means what Jesus said about me having a place with him in heaven is a lie. And that means him telling me to not let my heart be troubled is a lie. So I can take solace in some of it in that it's proven the Bible to be right. We have some callous people in this world.
Right.
And to be honest with you, if put in the wrong predicament under the wrong circumstances, I would do something foolish. Did you hear that?
My God.
We just got to be honest with ourselves. Everybody got a tipping point. And if put in the wrong circumstances at the wrong time doing the wrong thing, we all subject to go off. So when people speak about mental health, we all got some mental health issues. Let's just be honest.
Yeah, Pastor Rose said it.
I'm dead in the head, toe up from the flow up. I need a checkup from the neck up from time to time. Because folks will cut you off, as you brought up road rage, or give you the one finger salute, step on their brakes. And if we're not rooted and grounded in the moral standards and word of God, we subject to do anything.
The city of Houston, I know, they've had 5 buybacks where people could bring their gun in. They would give them a gift card. What do you think about that? I mean, people were bringing the guns in, but just think of how many still are out there.
The buyback program was good in that it removed some firearms off the street. However, it did not inhibit those from going to get new firearms or to go get more firearms per capita. Per capita, the United States has more guns in this country per person than any other country in the world. We are a firearm, bullet-happy society. And the trouble comes into when we don't have good conflict resolution skills. When we are unable to talk out our differences and leave knowing that it's all right not to agree, but we shouldn't harm each other. So we lack those common skills, one due to the fact that right now everything is in our hand and at our palm. We don't have to speak really face-to-face one to another. You don't have to really leave your house for anything these days. You can work from home. You can get your groceries. You can get your food. You can talk to people over your phone and computer. You really don't have to leave your house at all. So when it comes to when we have in-person connections and there is a conflict, we lack conflict resolution. So buying the guns back is good, but we still didn't teach people how to manage and deal with their issues when it comes to conflict. That's still one of the major problems.
So do you think this helped?
It helped to a certain degree with removing guns off the street, some. But they need to go a little bit further and, again, deal with the issues of how we address the guns that are still in homes, the guns that are the law that you cited earlier. The consequences for someone taking a gun out your house, one of your kids or something, I mean, it's unbelievable. We'll throw someone in the slammer real quick if they hurt a dog or a cat. But let them take a gun out and say, I was standing my ground. You can a murderer can get out of jail quicker than someone who hurt an animal.
Right.
Let's just be honest. And that's sad. So there are no indefinite consequences. We let these people out and they keep repeating the same thing because we haven't dealt, again, with conflict resolution and helping them deal with issues that they have. So it helped. But we have to go further.
Right.
If that makes sense.
It does. If you have any questions, call in. Pastor Williams will be glad to answer any questions that you have related to gun violence. That number is 281-888-4042. Again, that number is 281-888-4042. What is a ghost gun and why would you use this?
So you delve into my mechanical engineering background. A ghost gun is a gun that is allowed. So two ways to get a ghost gun. One is you print a gun on these printable machines. You make all the parts from it from a blueprint that you can get offline. And it is an actual fireable firearm that is not registered with any local or federal agency. The other way you get ghost guns are guns that are smuggled in illegally that have had the serial numbers all scratched off so that it cannot be tracked and or traced. So ghost guns come from weapons that are not traceable or trackable. And at that point, when you start talking about the only person who can stop a bad guy with a gun is a good guy with a gun. How do you know if they got a ghost gun? You do not know. How do I know what your intentions are? Ghost guns are something that really need to be dealt with. But again, in the state of Texas, due to this new law, it don't have to be addressed. I can walk around, gun, everything, don't need no license, hey, I'm good to go. Now, let me say this to those who believe I'm bashing our Texas leaders and our Texas legislator. I will agree with Greg Abbott, Dan Patrick, Ken Paxton, our legislatures, Democrat, Republican, and or independent, that if they will allow me to carry a concealed hand weapon in the state capitol, no no metal detectors, no pat downs, no searching. If they will allow me to do that as much as they bark about really letting people have their Second Amendment, I'll agree with them 100%. But why can't I walk into the Capitol like that?
Absolutely.
Why can't I walk into his office like that? See, nobody want to ask the tough questions. If it's such an easy thing, let me walk into your house like that, and we all good.
Right.
But you're not gonna let just any and everybody. Now you see you done got to that point to where you want chaplains. Let's have chaplains. Chaplains ain't gonna stop no bullet.
Exactly. Yep.
So let's really get to it. Governor Abbott, I'm all for you. If you'll let me come to the Capitol while you governor without being searched with my firearm, and let's sit down and have a real good conversation. Again, remember I said part of the issue is conflict resolution. What is Governor Abbott going to do when he have conflict with somebody who don't see things the way he see, and they pull their gun and say they was just standing their ground? That's just fact.
My God. Pastor Williams, what do you think about our Governor Greg Abbott? Could he do something to stop or curb the gun violence?
Absolutely. Absolutely. It would not end it. It would not fully stop it. It could curb it. He could beyond sensible this rhetoric about mental health, and mental health is a real thing. Don't get me wrong. But again, who draws the line or who sets the bar as to what mental health status deserves to have a gun or does not have deserve to have a gun? A battered woman gonna have some mental health, but she also has the right to protect herself against the person that's battering her. You understand what I'm saying when I say that? So I hear you, but on the other stance, sensible gun control laws, red flag laws, being able to say, set good age guidance parameters, looking at the registries and the databases for who has and who does not have a firearm are good starting places. But we have to be careful with the number of magazines and number of rounds and the number of firearms. When somebody buying 40 or 50 firearms and you're not a collector or a dealer, that should send up a red flag. So we have to start looking at things from that viewpoint. I hear people say they need an AK to go hunting and this and that. You'll never eat a piece of deer that you shoot up with an AK because it'll tear up all the meat. So you can take that somewhere else. I hear you. If you need an AK-47 to protect yourself in your house, it tells me one or two things. You either don't know how to shoot good and you need more training, or you're so scared that you just going to shoot anything that comes. I'll tell you a better weapon that you can have is a shotgun. It spreads, but the likelihood of you killing somebody from a distance with a shotgun versus an AK is a lot less. So if you're really doing it for protection, get the right weapon. But we don't train folk in knowing how to have good self-defense. That's just my opinion. So he could pass some things. He could do some things. The Second Amendment does not allow you and I to have a nuclear weapon or a machine gun or a grenade.
Them a long time. So they
why?
still have them?
They do. And why doesn't it not allow us to have those? Because they say those are dangerous weapons. Well, from my understanding, all weapons are dangerous.
True.
But okay.
So since you said that, the switch, you know, the one that you put in a gun and it shoots, is just so many times. Now that made me think about that. It's illegal. It's even illegal for the police because you don't know. It could shoot somebody that's nearby or random. So now that you had brought that point up, that just brought that also to my mind.
Yeah, so you're not supposed to have that put into a semi-automatic weapon to make it an automatic weapon because now it becomes a weapon of war, according to what some judges have said. I don't know if it has fully gone to the Supreme Court for them to rule on, but who knows what the Supreme Court is how they're gonna rule. Again, it's hard to legislate morality, but you can actually, that's one of the things that they were talking about, like with these ghost guns. You can print those clips, and they're easy to install. Mm-hmm. The instructions are all over the internet. One of the problems, let me put it, one of the problems we have with guns in America is too many cowards have them. Mm. They don't have no skin. They don't have no skin in the game. Mm. Back in the day, we used to have to use fists.
Mm-hmm. Absolutely.
And because you had skin in the game, mm-hmm. because you might get blooded. See, you may land some, but you're going to get some. Mm-hmm. It made you think twice before you did what you were going to do. Mm. But with guns, you ain't got to do that. So we got too many cowards that have guns. Mm. And if we were to deal with that issue again, the cowardice of people, the age group, the clips, the ghost guns, passing sensible legislation that deals with who can and who cannot have a gun beyond mental health, we could really make some headway in this issue. The only problem will be, because I want to bring this back to the Bible, Jesus said in Matthew chapter 15, I want to say, starting at, let me say the 18th verse. He said, but those things which proceed out of the mouth cometh from the heart, and they defile the man. Mm-hmm. For out of the heart proceeds evil thoughts, murder, adulteries, fornications, theft, false witness, blasphemies. These are the things which defile a man. But to eat with unwashed hands defileth not a man. You see, I say that to say the heart of the problem is we have a problem with our heart. You can work with the mind, but until you work with the heart of man, we're going to have this issue. We got some heart problems. People don't care about one another. As I said to start with, we don't love our neighbors as we love ourselves. There are some heart issues that really have to be dealt with. We got some, I'm going to say it this, we got some weak men in the world. I said it.
Yes.
If I can't have nobody else, that's a weak man. You're just weak. We got some people who are weak in leadership, who don't want to help raise or be a part of the family structure to get things set the way they need to be set. We got some people who are so weak in their heart and in their feelings, and they get road rage is a heart problem. You brought that up. You get mad because somebody cut you off. Well, they may have missed their exit. That don't mean they deserve for you to shoot them. Step back, ask yourself a question. Is this worth going to jail over? Is this worth losing my freedom? Is this worth destroying two families, mine and theirs? Before you if you ask yourself that question, those questions, 9 times out of 10, you ain't going to pull your weapon. Got a heart problem.
I want to bring up the kid that brought the gun to school, who shot the elementary teacher. The parent has to serve time. What do you think about this? I mean, I just call it irresponsible as a parent.
Well, irresponsible as a parent is a good starting point, but it shouldn't be the end point. For one, the child had to be shown or told where the gun was, unless they just snuck around and found it. When I was growing up, there were consequences for entering my parents' room without permission. Did you hear what I just said?
Mm-hmm.
We had to respect an elder's area, our parents' area. You didn't just walk in there without knocking or go searching through their stuff without getting permission. You didn't go with my mama's purse without her telling you. Lord have mercy. You didn't go in their closet, they drawer. So this child either disobeyed their parent or were told where the gun was. The next thing was shooting it, knowing how to pull the trigger. Either you got it from what you watch, what you heard, or what you were shown. And we don't address those issues with the violence that's in video games and things of those natures that are teaching these children things that are well beyond their comprehension, because to them, a lot of children, they don't even understand death. They don't understand some of the consequences of their actions because we don't give them any consequences. We don't give the adults consequences. We just let you go on and do what you're going to do and say, don't do it again. No. Sometimes you need to know because consequences have life or death issues with them. And so the parent had to do time, but because the parent didn't do the right thing and have the gun locked up properly with a lock on the gun itself and the box, now they're having to deal with the consequences of their action. Hopefully, that sends a message to the rest of us. Be responsible. If you're going to have a firearm, be responsible. And then understand that you have to deal with the consequences of your actions. And let me say this. Justice in America take too long sometimes. You shouldn't be able to kill 4 or 5 people and wait for your trial date for 10 years, especially when you got video evidence and everything else that show it. Some of these people, they don't ever see no jail. They die before they even go to jail because they out there, they got killed trying to do the same thing. So we need to fix that part of our system too. Go ahead and deal with it right now. It's sad that gun violence has ticked up in the minority communities most. We our forefathers did all of this fighting and stuff to get us out of conditions, slavery, and segregation, and all these things. Not for us to do some of the senseless stuff that we're doing, but so that we could have a better life in a better way. And we need to go back and really tell the story of the struggles of why some of the things were done the way they were done. Could you have imagined if Black Friday, Black Tuesday, when they walked across the bridge of Selma, if everybody that was marching one way had guns in their hands and the police was shooting, and they would been a whole different outcome.
Right.
But they did it peacefully. Now, I'm not saying don't protect yourself. That's not what I'm saying. But you got to know when to hold them and know when to fold them and know when to walk away and know when to run.
My God. I'm going to give you this number again because Pastor Williams he's talking some good stuff on tonight as it relates to gun violence. That number is 281-888-4042. Again, that number is 281-888-4042. What can the schools do to protect our kids from mass shootings?
That's a sensitive and touchy subject. First off, putting guns in teachers' hands these days ain't gonna be the answer. Because again, I'll say it, the heart of the problem is we have a problem with the heart. What do you do the day the teacher comes in who's had a bad morning or a bad day? And we know how some of these students can be. All it takes is you to push the wrong button and the wrong number. Then what happens? Then everybody throwing their hands out. And I don't like that we cannot sue our public officials who wrote these laws. We need to be able to sue them when our children. It was a travesty that nobody went to prison behind the people who died in the freeze. Mm-hmm. Did you hear that? Mm-hmm. If you ain't gonna see, you can't tell me that life is precious in the womb and then turn around and tell me it's not precious out of the womb. Mm. If you're gonna protect children in school, the first thing is make these not just public but private and schools and colleges gun-free zones. Mm. Stop putting guns on it. They're institutions of learning. You afraid of them learning critical race theory, but ain't afraid of them carrying a gun. Mm-hmm. You afraid of people at college learning diversity, equity, and law and inclusion, but ain't afraid of them having guns. Mm-hmm. You afraid of them learning Black history, African American studies, but not afraid of them killing each other. Mm-hmm. You can't have it both ways. Life is precious no matter what stage it's at. Mm-hmm. And we have to treat it as such. So how do you protect kids in the schools? First off, you get more school patrols. We had on-campus security at Willow Ridge.
Well, me too.
And we respected them. Mm-hmm. So first, teach your children how to respect authority. Mm-hmm. Teachers, crosswalking guards, the security, the principals, all across the board. Mm-hmm. And if your child shall not respect authority, handle it. Mm-hmm. Don't go against the authority. Tell your child. Let them know that there are consequences for it. We got too many folks walking in schools in their pajamas, wanting to cuss out and fuss at teachers. Cuss me out, if you will, and see what happens. Mm-hmm. I ain't always been saved. Mm-hmm. I pray that the Lord help me control my tongue. Mm-hmm. But I got limits, too. You only going to talk so crazy to me for so long before my temperature start to boil and I get 3 shades darker. Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. These teachers have a rough time. They don't need to be handling school and guns and your kids. Mm-hmm. Again, we talk about, let me say this. We talk about putting chaplains in school in the case of a mass. Well, let me ask you this. From what religion?
Good question.
Because you ain't going to want them to teach from the Muslim standpoint. You ain't going to want them to teach from the Buddhist standpoint. What they meant in that law was Christian chaplains. But that ain't what's going to happen. Mm-hmm. You already got the synagogue of Satan wanting to teach in different schools because now you said it's got to be free, and now you mad at that. Well, you open that door. Stop opening the door and not realizing the consequences. Mm-hmm. I don't need a bunch more guns in school. I need the security guards who are trained, who understand. I need lockable entrances and exits. Mm-hmm. I need discipline back in school where it's not just I'm going to send you to timeout or in a corner. Corporal punishment dissuade a lot of foolishness. Yes. Mm-hmm. Well, then you go back and you say, well, Pastor, that's being barbaric. Mm-hmm. Well, if you'll train them at home, they'll never have to deal with that. Mm-hmm. Let's just be honest. Mm-hmm. So you need to have good security things in place. If there's ever a place to have treat the schools like Greg Abbott treat the Capitol. Metal detectors, armed guards at the entrance and exit. Mm-hmm. If I need to pat you down or look in your backpack or whatever, I will do that. Mm-hmm. Treat the schools, including college campuses, like Greg Abbott treat the Capitol, and see if it won't be solved.
Right. I do think that is needed as an educator. I've seen so many things that's happening, but to me, everything starts at home. Most of the kids see any and everything at home. You would be surprised at the stories I've heard as an educator from kids as young as elementary school. That when you bond with them, they'll tell you everything. So it's just so sad. So parents need to do better. I call them the 21st century parents. They need to do better. So, you brought up the AR-15. Should they be banned?
From general public, yes. I don't think it doesn't serve a purpose. For the actual hunter, you don't need an AK-47. You can't eat the meat if you. For the collector, how many of them do you need? It's a military style weapon. Do we need a military style weapon to protect yourself? I told you, a shotgun will do more for you because it spread the blast than an AK. Any of those weapons. So if you can't hit the target with a 30-06 or 240, if you can't, you ain't gonna hit the target with nothing. It ain't gonna make no difference. Go get some proper training and learn how to defend yourself. Now I will say this: for those who believe you have to have them, give me a strong defense other than the Second Amendment as to why you need it. It's not just because you say, well, it don't harm nobody for me to have it. Well, eating lead don't harm nobody, but you don't go around eating it. Just being honest with you. You just give me your reasons and we can talk about it. Again, it don't really serve a useful purpose. One legislator said he uses them to kill prairie dogs. Have you ever seen a prairie dog?
Don't
It's
know
this
what it
tall.
is.
It ain't no bigger than a squirrel. If you hunting prairie dogs with an AK, I'm scared to be around you because you don't know what you're doing.
Wow.
You just don't know what you're doing. You're going to hurt somebody. That's just point blank. So it doesn't serve a practical use for the general public. Let me say it that way. But likewise, having a Bible in the back of your car and never reading it don't serve a practical use either.
Jesus.
And if we had more people who would read their Bible, maybe we'd have less foolishness going on in the world. Jeremiah says it, I want to say, in the 17th chapter, starting at the 9th verse. He says, the heart is deceitful above all things and desperately wicked. Who can know it? The Lord searcheth the heart and tries the reins, even to give every man according to his ways and according to the fruits of his doing. I'm going to always drive this back, not just gun violence, but all violence, to the heart. We have a heart problem. The heart of the problem is the problem with the heart. You see, gun violence is just a symptom. Sin is the sickness. Violence itself is just a symptom of sin, transgression, and iniquity. And we don't want to address that. In churches today, what really bothers me, preachers will talk about guns and won't talk about sin. Preachers will talk about your right to carry and won't tell you that hell is real. I got a problem with that. Stop trying to make the Bible fit your politics and make your politics fit the Bible.
Jesus.
I have a problem with that. I'm going to continue to have a problem with that.
Good question. Do you think they should get rid of guns, period?
No. Here's why. Well, when you say that, who is the who that you're talking about? Throughout the whole world, or just in general in America?
In general in America.
If you get rid of the guns in America, think of all the countries that want to obliterate America that has them. The Chinese not going to get rid of theirs. The Iranians not going to get rid of theirs. The Syrians not going to get rid of theirs. You need guns, but you need them in the right capacity of our military having them. Let me say it that way. So if we allow our military and our first responders and the reasonable persons who need them to have them, that would be fine with me. I don't think you should ban them from that. I don't think you even ban them from the general use of where people used to use them to survive and feed themselves. There are still those who don't necessarily want to go to the store to get farm-raised stuff, who really try to use them to protect. Let me ask you this. Are you afraid of snakes?
Mm-hmm. Yes.
Would you feel safer having a gun against a snake or your hands?
A gun.
So when it comes to dealing, and every snake ain't crawling on his belly.
Jesus.
Some of them got 2 legs.
Mm-hmm. Yes.
Just know how to deal with the snake that you're handling. You can't trust the snake no matter where you hold him. If you hold him by the head, he's dangerous. If you hold him by the tail, he's dangerous.
Right.
A snake is dangerous. So, again, in the right context, I believe firearms are not just essential, but useful.
So you're saying, because I was going to say, how does that fit in? But you gave an example of all the militants. They have to use the weapons.
I don't follow all his sayings, but Gandhi said that he who has the biggest stick wins. Even though he was a nonviolent